On the cold night of Sunday, December 17, 2000, panic erupted in Fayetteville, North Carolina. A barefoot woman, her face and hands streaked with blood, ran into the Video Hut rental store in desperation. Her name was Michelle There. Breathing heavily, she pleaded with staff to call 911. Her husband, she said, had been shot. With no phone of her own, the small video store became her only lifeline. Emergency responders arrived within minutes. Rushing to the parking lot, Michelle described, what they found was horrifying. A red Ford Explorer sat parked, and next to it lay a man gravely wounded. It was 31-year-old Captain Marty, U.S. Air Force officer newly assigned to Fort Bragg. Despite paramedics' desperate attempts to save him, the injuries were catastrophic. Marty had been shot 5 times, one bullet striking his head, a shot that seemed meant to ensure he would never survive. Investigators were immediately puzzled. Nothing had been stolen. Marty's wallet, watch, and personal belongings were all untouched. There were no witnesses, no signs of a robbery. To detectives, the crime looked personal. Michelle's hands were tested for gunshot residue, but results showed nothing. Still, police weren't convinced. Born February 26, 1969, in Auersberg, Germany, Marty's life began far from American soil. His father, serving in the U.S. military, struggled with mental illness and ultimately abandoned the family, leaving his mother, Linda, to raise their only child alone. Back in Colorado, Linda leaned on her parents for support. Marty's grandfather, a World War II veteran, stepped in as a father figure, teaching him discipline, resilience, and integrity. Marty thrived academically, excelled in sports, and was admired by peers. But above all, he cherished the bond with his mother, Linda, who became his anchor. Michelle There was born December 9, 1970. As the oldest of 3 children in a military family, she carried heavy responsibilities. Her father's deployments and later divorce from her mother left Michelle helping to raise her younger siblings. Despite the instability, she excelled in school and preferred a tight-knit circle of friends. When Michelle met Marty as a teenager, the connection was instant. Marty, who had no siblings of his own, quickly grew close to her family. By 1991, they married. Marty just 22, Michelle 21. Marty's military career took them across the country: Oklahoma, Denver, Florida. Michelle, determined to build her own career, studied psychology, eventually earning a bachelor's, a master's, and beginning work toward a Ph.D. Her professional life flourished. She volunteered on crisis hotlines, counseled abuse victims, and even worked with inmates in correctional facilities. Local radio and public events sought her expertise, and she built a reputation as a thoughtful and compassionate professional. Outwardly, the couple had it all: a stable marriage, promising careers, and a comfortable home. But behind closed doors, tension grew. Marty longed for children. Michelle wasn't ready. She feared raising kids while constantly relocating with military life. Their arguments deepened, and by the year 2000, Michelle temporarily moved into her own apartment. During the separation, she met Staff Sergeant John Diamond, a 28-year-old soldier stationed at Fort Bragg. Their relationship began online. Michelle had posted a personal ad seeking a physically fit, intelligent man local to Fayetteville. John fit the description perfectly: tall, athletic, confident. But he was also married and known for infidelity. Their affair quickly escalated. Even after Michelle returned home to Marty for counseling, she continued to see John in secret. On December 17, 2000, Marty and Michelle attended her office Christmas party. Friends remembered them holding hands, smiling, appearing like any ordinary couple. But hours later, tragedy struck. Michelle asked Marty to stop by her office so she could pick up some items. He waited outside in their red Ford Explorer. Moments later, the sound of gunfire shattered the night. Michelle claimed she rushed outside and found her husband collapsed. With no phone, she ran barefoot to the video store for help. Detectives, however, saw flaws. Why hadn't she used the office phone? Why did she lock herself out? To them, the story seemed rehearsed. When her affair with John Diamond surfaced, the focus of the investigation shifted. John initially provided an alibi, saying he was home watching movies with his wife and mother-in-law. But cracks soon appeared. His wife revealed that around 9 p.m., John received a phone call from Michelle's number. He left the house, claiming he needed to go to the barracks. Phone records, witness testimony, and ballistics tied him to the crime. Investigators learned John had borrowed a pistol matching the type used in Marty's murder. The bullets recovered from Marty's body were fired from that very gun. In 2001, John Diamond was convicted of murder and conspiracy in military court. He was sentenced to life without parole. With John convicted, investigators turned to Michelle, charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy in 2001. She chose flight over trial. She withdrew $30,000, underwent plastic surgery, adopted a new identity, and fled to Florida. For over a year, she lived underground, avoiding detection. Her freedom ended in 2002 when authorities tracked her down. On her computer, investigators uncovered over 88,000 emails and messages exchanged with John Diamond, some discussing Marty's death, others detailing how she could disappear. She had even searched for body bags and fake identification. In 2004, Michelle finally faced trial. Despite refusing to testify, the digital trail spoke volumes. She was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder, sentenced to life without parole at the Anson Correctional Institution for Women in North Carolina. Even in prison, Michelle's manipulative behavior continued. In 2010, she was disciplined after guards intercepted a hand-drawn escape map she attempted to send out. To friends, family, and colleagues, Marty there is remembered not for the brutal way he died, but for the way he lived. A soldier dedicated to service, a loyal friend, and a man who longed for a stable, loving family. His story stands as a haunting reminder of how betrayal, obsession, and greed can turn love into tragedy.